Howdy gang, and welcome back to Pool School. Well, spring is just around the corner, so I thought this would be a good time to do a video on some of the things that you may want to take care of before swim season hits. So what do you say we get to it? Alrighty, before we get going, I want to thank you once again for watching this video. Remind you to like it if you do, subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, and please share my channel with everyone you know who owns a pool. Okay, so if you did not see my last video, I would encourage you to watch it because I talked about testing your pool water pre-season and the things you need to test for. Remember, there were two big things. The biggest one was your cyanuric acid, because if that was low, you might want to get a little of it into the pool to raise it up so your chlorine will hold and stabilize during the swim season. If it's high, you still have a chance to drain and refill your pool. So please watch that video so you understand all those things I was talking about, and that way it'll make it more sense to you. All right, but there is a short list of things that you might want to be taking care of before the swim season starts, so that way you don't have the downtime, and you also save yourself some potential hazards of if you do have to drain and refill your pool, that you don't risk damaging it because of the summer heat, which can dry out your surface or your plaster and can do some damage. So this is basically a short list of things you're going to want to check out and maybe do if you haven't done them yet, or if you think that you need to do them, so that way you can get your pool ready for swim season and not have any downtime during swim season. All right, so let's talk filters first. 3 types of filters. If you haven't seen my video on the different types of filters, you might want to watch that one. I'll put a link to that one in the description below this video. But there are 3 types of filters. This one is a cartridge filter, okay? Cartridge, there is DE, and there is sand. If you have a cartridge filter, 2 things. During this time of year, it's a good time to clean the cartridges if it's been anywhere from 6 to 8 months between your last cartridge cleaning. If you haven't seen my video on cleaning cartridge filters, I've done 3, and I'll put links to those based on the type of filter it is or the brand that it is in the description below, and you can watch the one that pertains to yours or your particular cartridge filter. But again, you want to clean the cartridges if it's been about 6 to 8 months since your last cleaning. Also, if for some reason it's been over 5 years since you've replaced the cartridges, this would be a good time to get new cartridges and just replace them all together. Trust me, it'll save you a lot of time. If you have a DE filter, this is the time to get the grids clean. Now, I don't do a video on that. I stopped doing it, and there's several reasons. The big one was, every time I took one apart, hosed them out, took them apart, they're a pain to take apart and put back together, but inevitably I would find a torn grid, which would mean I have to run to the store, run to my supplier and get a full set of grids, because I always replace the full set if there's a tear, and then put them back in. So it made double the time. So I would suggest hiring a professional, have them come out and clean the grids professionally. But if there is a tear in any of the one grids, don't just replace the one. Remember, replace the entire set, or he'll be back or she'll be back to replace the next one that tears, the next one that tears, because they're all old. You want to replace with a fresh new set if there is a tear when they clean the grids. Okay. Lastly, if you have a sand filter, and it has been anywhere for about 5 years, 3 to 5 years, you might want to consider replacing the sand, because the sand in your filter gets old, it starts to clump together, and then it no longer filters. So if you have a sand filter and the sand is 3 to 5 years old, you might want to consider replacing the sand. And that's how you deal with filters during the pre-season. All right, lastly, anything behind the scenes here. I'm going to turn my camera around real quick so you can take a look at what I'm talking about. Basically anything to do with the filter or the plumbing or any add-ons you want to do where you're cutting pipes, this is the time to do it pre-season, so that way you're not wasting time shutting your pool down when people want to go swimming at it, or in it, sorry. So here's an example of one of my clients' pools. You've probably seen it before. They have a sand filter, they have a backwash valve here. Sometimes you need to replace a backwash valve. Sometimes the bulkheads are leaking and you want to replace those. Sometimes valves, there's a lot of different valves here. There's water features, aerators, cleaning system, returns, pop-up system, filter, pump, motor, all of those things. Any of those things, this is the time pre-season to replace those if you think they need to be replaced. Now, if you notice, some of these are broken off, these little valves, but they can still be turned with a pair of pliers or channel locks. So we don't want to be cutting pipes just to do that unless the thing starts leaking. But This is the time to do any work back here to your plumbing or system itself as well. Okay, so this is one of my clients' pools, and it's a good example to use for the next phase of pre-season preparation, things that you might need to do, okay? Anything, as a basic rule of thumb, anything that requires you to drain and refill your pool, this is the time to do it. Make note of this, I'm gonna say it a couple times. Once the temperature, the outside air temperature gets between 84 degrees and 86 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, it is not a good idea to drain a pool, okay? Because if you drain it when it's hotter than that, what's gonna happen is your plaster or your surface, PebbleTec, whatever, can dry out too quickly before you can get it refilled. And that can cause little cracks in the actual plaster or the PebbleTec. And that can cause seepage when you refill your pool, and water will get into underneath that. And it can actually get into the rebar, which is reinforcement bars, rod bars, they're iron bars that are used to reinforce the structure of the pool underneath all of this. And if the water hits that, it's going to start to rust, and that rust grows through your pool and into your plaster and that kind of stuff, and it looks terrible. So here's a short list of things that you might do because you need to drain and refill your pool. First of all, the obvious, if cyanuric acid levels are too high and it's time to drain your pool and put fresh water in there. That's obviously the first thing. Now, while you're at it, if you're doing that, that's a good time to do other repairs. Like if you have a plaster pool like this, you might want to consider acid washing it, which is basically something people do out here in Arizona every couple years if they have a plaster pool. And what it does, it kind of restores the brightness to the finish of the pool so that you get a more even and uniform plaster look, so it's cleaner. So you notice a little bit over here that you might be able to notice there's some staining on the walls. So a acid wash could actually help clean that up a bit, okay? So acid washing is one thing. The other thing that you might be thinking about doing during pre-season is if you have pop-up heads. You notice this has an in-floor cleaning system, and there's a pop-up head there. There's all kinds of pop-up heads. Getting those fixed while the pool is drained, okay? Also, a thing that you could be dealing with is a light or two, and replacing a light when it's not submerged underwater like that is a whole lot safer and a whole lot easier. So that's another thing that you could possibly consider doing. Suffice it to say, anything that you might do. Oh, also then, if there's any patching, let's say you have maybe some tiling like this on the steps that one or two have come off. It's a good time if you're draining your pool to fix those, replace them. Any tiles around the side of the pool, or any patching of plaster or PebbleTec on the steps, sometimes on the corners, on the edges, like right there, it can be breaking off, and this is a good time to patch those things. So again, you want to make sure that you're doing anything that requires you to drain or refill your pool at a time when the temperature outside will not exceed 84 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So those are some of the things that you might want to think about fixing if they need to be fixed during pre-season. So that way you're not having to take the time to drain your pool, which is not safe, and refill it in the middle of summer when it's just way too hot, and you're going to risk damaging your pool. Another thing, those floor drain covers. Sometimes those get cracked, and there are companies out here who actually will scuba dive down there and replace them when the water is in the pool. But it's a whole lot easier to do it when it's drained. So those are some of the things you can do in the pre-season so that way you don't have to worry about it during the off-season. Remember, anytime you have to drain or refill your pool, you want to do it before the temperature outside exceeds 84 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit so you don't damage your pool surface. So folks, there you have it. That is my video on pre-season maintenance. I hope it made sense. Remember, it's a short list of things that you might want to do to your pool before the swim season starts, so that way you're not having to shut your pool down and have people wait during the summer when they could be swimming, okay? So anyway, I hope it made sense. I apologize for the wind, apologize for the motion, just using my little selfie stick here. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below, or you can email me directly. And of course, my email, as always, is going to come across the bottom of the screen right here. It is kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Once again, kennypoolschool@gmail.com. If you shoot me an email or comment, I will do my best to answer it. Thank you once again for watching. Remind you to like, subscribe, and share. And until we meet again, remember, with pool season and swim season coming soon, have fun be safe, and always, always, always watch those kids and elderly people and pets around water. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.